Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. Online, of course, as Hanessa said, this is in honor of her second year to the mother, Rivka Bas Avram. That's like you said, I think this is perfect thing to do, Like I'm sure she's very happy about what you're doing in general, and also this, like you said, that she's preparing always for Yom Tov. This is a perfect way to prepare. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to come do this. What I would like to do, I'd love it to happen. I don't know. I don't do this type of speaking so much, so work on this, but I'd love to be more of a Farbrengen, meaning it's not just I'm going to speak and everyone listen, but we can all share, we can inspire ourselves, and together we go as a team. We'll have a good Rosh Hashana, or an awesome or the best Rosh Hashana ever. The title of this shir or this Farbrengen is Hashem is your king. So I'm just going to say some thoughts, some questions, and hopefully it'll stimulate us to think. I think before we start saying Hashem is your king, I think it's a very heavy statement. What does it mean, Hashem is your king? It has to come from someone, you know what I mean? Like it's not just, can't come off the street and say, hey, yeah, you're my king. In order for that process to happen, there's a whole so to speak, a year of Veda or Elul. So what does it mean to crown Hashem as our king? So I guess that's sort of the first question I want to know. I'm not saying this, I have these answers. I'm just thinking out loud. So that's one thing. Another thing is that whoever's been listening to the shir, another question is, it says in the Gemara.
What shir?
The morning shir. It says in the Gemara, it says in the pasuk in Yeshaya, Dirsha Avai b'matzai, such as Hashem when he's found. Curve, call him when he's close. So it says, when is this time period? This Eilu Asar Yomim, these are the 10 days between Rosh Hashana and Kippur. Now, I checked it up in the Gemara. It doesn't discuss this much else but that. But if you count, even though we don't know how to count, between Rosh Hashana and Kippur is only 7 days, not 10 days. So what's going on over here? Another question is, I thought Rosh Hashana is all about Tshuva. So what is this idea of crowning Hashem as king? Is it the same thing? Or is it different? How do all these ideas combine together? Also, we know in Chabad that Rosh Hashana is like the highest day of the year. Like sort of Yom Kippur and Chabad is not as serious as Rosh Hashana. It says by the Rebbeim, it's known by the Rebbeim Adam for hours on Rosh Hashana night, like 4 hours. Marv. The Marv, we all know, doesn't take that long. And the Daven got a tears, and it was very, very serious. Rosh Hashana was known as more serious than Yom Kippur. Not that Yom Kippur wasn't serious, but Rosh Hashana clearly a level higher. Now, in general, growing up, we understood it, and what you see in the general world, Yom Kippur is more serious. Yom Kippur is the day of judgment, and you've been judged. So then why in Chabad is Rosh Hashana seen as a lot more important? Yeah, that's essentially some of the questions. So let's run through them. We have, why does it say 10 days between Hashem and Kippur? What does it mean to crown Hashem as our king? Why by Chabad Rosh Hashana more? Why is Chabad Rosh Hashana more powerful day than Yom Kippur? Does anyone have any ideas? Any thoughts about this?
I have a thought about why Rosh Hashana is more important than Yom Kippur. Maybe because without Rosh Hashana, there would be no point of Yom Kippur. Like Rosh Hashana is when man was created, and if we don't have man, then why do we need Tshuva for? That's what I thought.
Very interesting, very good. So I'm just going to say it again for the recording. Dina is saying that we went for last night. Dina is saying that Rosh Hashana seemingly is more important. Just practically, without Rosh Hashana, there's no Yom Kippur. It's like, why do we celebrate Rosh Hashana on the 6th day of creation, not the 1st day? Because without man, there's no purpose of creation. Creation only exists with man. So to do tshuva, first you have to be created. So practically, we come first. Without us, truth doesn't exist. It's a good answer. Anyone else have any ideas? Or they think, why is it 10 days? Why would we say 10 days between? It's only 7. What does anyone else have any other questions?
Maybe it starts with Rosh Hashana or it continues after.
So if you include Rosh Hashana and Kippur, then it is 10 days. But it says, Eilasar, these are the 10 days between.
Oh, so it's counting also Rosh Hashana and Kippur.
Yeah, it's including Rosh Hashana and Kippur, that's 10. With Rosh Hashana and Kippur, it's 10. Without it, it's 7. But it says these are the 10 days. So it's 10 days, but between Rosh Hashana and Kippur.
So 10 days plus Rosh Hashana and Kippur.
So so really.
No.
Oh,
7 days.
including Rosh Hashana.
So when you say between, it normally doesn't include. Between here and here, it's not including. But if you don't include it, it's only 7 days. So you have to include it. Why does it say between? If really be, it should be. You could say these are the 10 days from Rosh Hashanah till Yom Kippur. It doesn't say from. It says between.
Someone was tired when they wrote it. Or maybe it was like post Sukkot and they were still drunk, but they wanted to write it.
So it's a funny answer, but I think it's a good opportunity to make us realize that everything that's in Torah is exact, and there's a lot to learn from. So the fact that they wrote it, and this is sort of, we're going to learn about it, the fact that they wrote it, it means it's something to learn. And in general, when we learn Torah, anything we learn in Torah is Hashem's will and wisdom. It's deep stuff. We always take everything serious. Not saying it's an opportunity to look at it, and we could just learn, whatever. We can look at it and ask ourselves questions. It's good. Okay, so let's go like this. So in order to get to the point, I think sort of the end result is that Hashem is our king. That's what we're trying to reach. Like the lashon of Yom Tov, Aktar Samelach. It's like taking Hashem as our king. So the stress of this Farbrengen is that it's not just Hashem as king, but our king. So in order to have Hashem as our king, we have to sort of start the relationship. So I'll say like this: it's something interesting. A few months ago I started learning Karmaga. A long story. Nearly got a guy behind me got gun pointed at him. And I was literally 2 seconds away from it. I said to myself, maybe I should learn this. So one of the things that happened, so I started doing Karmaga, they said this is right, and I liked it a lot. I didn't like it in the beginning, but I learned to appreciate it. He said like this. So you come, it's in a basement somewhere. So you go down the stairs, and normally it's 7 o'clock, which is like bedtime. So I'm leaving in the middle of bedtime, and I'm running to get there. It starts whatever, 7:15. So I come down these stairs, and then you line up, and he makes everyone line up in a straight line. And he says, so one time he said to us, he goes, it doesn't matter what's happening, whatever happened before you came, and you're weak, and all your stresses, and all your life, just put that aside, and now you're here, just be present here. And I didn't like it because I'm not running away from my world, I'm trying to add this into my world. But it hit me a few weeks ago. I was like, I like that very lot actually. Why? Because what happens when you're running and you're stressed and everything's going on in life, and then it stops. And then you start going down the stairs. Last week it happened to me. I walk down the stairs and I feel myself clearing my mind from everything. And I feel the same way. It's a little bit like when you go to shul on Shabbos. Shabbos, the stress before Shabbos, and as you walk to shul, it's like the burden's off, you're done, and you can sort of relax. And I think this is a very good lesson in life in general, and I think also when it comes to Rosh Hashana. When you come into Rosh Hashana, it's very healthy, and this is in general life. When you come to a situation, whatever happened before, whatever you managed to cook, or you didn't manage to cook, or you managed to sleep, all the preparation you managed to do, and didn't manage to do, when it comes in, you don't have to come in. I'm new, I'm fresh, I don't have to worry about it. I'm good. Sort of put all those machshavas zaros happen, and we can say to ourselves, it could even be like we learned in the Maimon in the morning on Elul, we could be in not a good place. Could have been struggling, we didn't learn, we didn't dive in, we didn't do anything, no preparation for Rosh Hashana. At this point, it's irrelevant. because you can't do anything about it. You come, you sit down, and whatever happens in the stresses of the day and whatever, and I was meant to do all these things, and you had all these good ideas, or you didn't have whatever it is, and you come wherever you daven, and this applies the whole time. You should never, Rosh Hashanah is as much as a serious day, but you should be happy, like you should be in a happy frame of mind. So you come, don't worry about it, and you walk and you're good. That's something that like just try to remind ourselves. So that in order to crown Hashem as our king, we have to make a relationship with Hashem. Meaning, Rosh Hashanah is not, like Rosh Hashanah B'chal, Hashem is not just this like talk. We think about, like Hashem's up there, somewhere in the heavens, but he's down here. So for this, I think there's a beautiful story a friend of mine told me. That there was once a guy, the year started, after Rosh Hashanah, after Tisha finished, and unfortunately, his wife passed away. He was very unhappy. This was from an old country, it was back in the day in 1800, he was very unhappy. So he said, God, you take away my wife, I'm taking away tefillin. I'm not putting tefillin anymore. I don't like this. You take from me, I take from you. And he stopped putting tefillin. Comes a few months later, and his cow passes, and the cow dies. He's like, God, you take away my cow, I take away kashrus. I'm not keeping kosher anymore. And as the year goes on, he starts going down. And then it comes and his chicken dies, and he says, take my chicken, take away Shabbos. I'm not keeping Shabbos anymore. And in the midst of all this, his neighbor, which used to be good friends, got into a big fight with him and not taking to talk to him anymore. So this guy's having a very bad year. His neighbor's not talking to him. His neighbor didn't do all these other things, and he's still keeping kosher and Shabbos and tefillin, but he's not speaking to him. Comes Elul, and you have to ask Shuv and stuff. People amongst themselves. So he decides he wants to make up with his friends. He comes, knocks on his friend's door. His friend opens it up, and he's like, "What are you on?" So he goes, "I want to make up. I feel bad. Like it's not worth it. Let's make up." Because come, let's talk it out. He brings a bottle of mashka. They sit down. They say l'chaim, and they hash it out and they fix it up. And this guy, so he comes into shul. So this guy that he stopped doing all these mitzvahs comes time, and he says to himself, you know what? The year's coming to an end. I wanna hash it out with God. He comes, takes a bottle, pours himself a l'chaim, and he drinks, and he says, and he hashes out with Hashem. And I think this is a beautiful story. As much as I'm not condoning, not doing mitzvahs, but I think the story is very beautiful in the sense like Hashem was real to him. Maybe he didn't understand how to approach the relationship, but there was a relationship. Hashem wasn't just something you read in a book, but he really cared. And he was very hurt by what Hashem did, so he wanted to hurt him back. It's not a healthy type of relationship, but it's a relationship. And I think we got to ask ourselves this is ultimately the question, coming to Rosh Hashana. Ultimately, Rosh Hashana is about crowning Hashem as king. And this is sort of why in Chabad is the most serious day, is because like Adina was saying, before you start talking about tshuva, before you start going to that level, you have to have the relationship first. You have to, Hashem has to be something, and you have to have that. Without that, there's no tshuva. Like you were saying, without, if you're not alive, then there's no tshuva. But it's essentially that. And what happens? A friend of mine, I heard at today's cool story that he said, a friend of mine was very stressed. It's coming to Rosh Hashanah. He's like, I feel very uncomfortable. I don't understand. What is it? It was a bach. He didn't have many things to take care of. He's like, I feel very uptight. So his friend said to him, what do you expect? He goes, imagine your father left. You're not sure if he's coming back. And he's like, wow, that's interesting. Because essentially what Chassidus teaches us in Rosh Hashanah is Hashem saying, let's take a pause in this relationship. Let's see where we're holding. Do you like this relationship? Do you want to be in a relationship? Hashem's giving us the choice. And it's up to us to essentially to ask ourselves this question. Do I want to be in this relationship? Do I care about this relationship? It's something to think about. Because once we get into that, and really, once we even more than this, Chassidus says, and this is sort of the Rebbe brings out, it's a wild idea, is that really we're reaching Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, and also in Kippur, is this level of Hashem as king is really a deep, deep level within us. Meaning, there's a level of us we do Torah mitzvahs. A typical Chassidus fashion, Torah mitzvahs become the lowest thing. Without Chassidus, the top of the food chain is Torah mitzvahs. Chassidus top of the food chain is a yid. So when you look, the lowest level of Torah, the lowest level when it comes to Rosh Hashana is Torah mitzvahs. And in general in life, a deeper level than that is tshuva. Because what's tshuva? Tshuva is you did something wrong, and you need to do kapara. You need to ask for forgiveness. And just looking at a relationship. You have, let's say, a husband, a child, parent-child relationship. A good relationship, the child does all, behaves, does all the right things. And what's tshuva? The child does something wrong, so the parent forgives. But what the child has to do, even if the kid does something wrong, a parent can also forgive. A parent has a deep level of relationship. It's like, I used to work in Erev, and I speak to the mothers, and a lot of the mothers would say they had this conflict within themselves. On one hand, it's my son. On the other hand, my son did something wrong. So how do I deal with it? So a lot of them, what they said was, I can love the person, but not love the act. Like what he did was totally wrong. And I think it's wrong. It's not my son. And this is tshuva. Tshuva is tapping to a level that Hashem has a level. This is what we reach. This is the Aseret made tshuva. And this is the tshuva aspect of Rosh Hashana, is that you reach this level, Hashem can forgive whatever you did wrong. Which is an amazing thing. If you think about it in terms of like the 60-day book, you read about the terms of like the Jewish people, is essentially we cheated on Hashem with the golden calf, and then he gives the opportunity to do tshuva for it. That's a pretty serious thing. No one in any relationship would want to do such a thing. God forbid such a thing. Cheating on your spouse, it's unheard of. And to forgive it, I don't know how many people could forgive them, but Hashem forgives us for this. And this is what's happening. This is sort of this whole time period. So that's tshuva. But what's higher than tshuva, which is another aspect of Rosh Hashana, is crying Hashem as king. Really, crying Hashem as king is coming from the deepest of places. It's coming from a place of like atzvus. So atzvus, Chassidus, one of the things is important to familiarize ourselves, and it's something that I'm like learning as we go. It's like, sometimes we ask ourselves, why do I have to learn all this stuff? So many like levels and chillus and bria and atzvus, who cares? Like whatever, it's God and it's us. But one of the reasons when I understand is because when you learn these levels, you start to it's nuanced. It's like food. What's the difference between eating at a Mendy's and eating at like a 5-star restaurant? So it's food is food. But it's very nuanced. There's a lot more to it. When you learn, the more you learn, and like these concepts, if you understand them and you realize that helped me understand God, it's like playing basketball. Playing basketball is just a ball and you throw it into the hoop and that's it. But there's a lot of depth to the basketball game, and there's professional players that they spend many years training. And so too, we're learning all these levels. They help us understand this thing. So atzmos, I think I'm rambling too much. Maybe we should try to take a break. I guess maybe I'll leave. You want to sing the Gudim? So try it. I'll put it on silent. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we still have our questions about why is it Sarim Bain Rosh Hashanah Kippur? Why is it 10 days between Rosh Hashanah Kippur? 7.
How do you mute it?
I did. Yeah, why do we say it's 10 days between 27? Also, why is Rosh Hashanah the biggest of all the Yom Tovim? So it's interesting. One of the things the Rebbe says, Rosh Hashanah, is that Rosh Hashanah, it says before we play shofar, we say in the Tehillim before we play shofar. You know, you say some Tehillim 7 times. So when you say it, one thing we say that we say, "V'yivchar lanu" is not by saying choose for us our inheritance. Choose us as his inheritance. We say about Hashem. It's a choice. Choose. What is choice? What does free choice mean? They don't know.
When you have two things that are equal and then you're able to choose between them.
Very good. What happens if they're not equal?
Then it's not a choice anymore. Because then you're obviously going to do things that are.
Excellent. Very good. So, and meaning it's still you can sort of say it is a choice, but it's not a real true free choice.
Right.
You're choosing, but it's not based off free will. It's more like you're being drawn to something. Choose going on a trip to the Bahamas versus a trip to some place not so nice. You still get to choose, but it has to be, but it's not a true free choice. So when we say we say that Hashem should choose us as our inheritance, that true choice we're talking about has to come from a true place, which means this is a wild idea. Which means the choice can't come because of our Torah mitzvahs. Because if the choice comes from our Torah mitzvahs, it's like choosing some amazing place versus some not such amazing place. It's choosing. Is there a choice between ice cream and plain rice? Yeah.
The implication is that Hashem has free, of course he has free choice, but that's what he's exercising when he's choosing us as his inheritance. Or that's what
That's what we're asking. That. And being that we're asking that, we're asking where we are. Where's that place in Hashem that there's that free choice? So if we're going to say it's a place in Hashem, yeah, exactly. Because if we're going to say it's a place in Hashem that our Torah mitzvahs make a difference, that's not a free choice. He's choosing us because of our mitzvahs. Now, if we're going to say he's choosing us because of our tshuva, we said before, it's a huge level. It's a very high level. It's above. Even if you didn't do the right thing, you can do tshuva. And the highest level of tshuva, you can even transform. Then it's not like you can take even the negative and make it positive, which is a while ago. I was talking to someone about this. He was like, because essentially what we're saying in this sort of what Rich Yom Kippur, how can you transform something that much? There's something wrong. And you're going to say it's transformed totally? It doesn't really work that way. It's still you did something wrong. It doesn't transform something totally. But even that level, that Hashem, that if we're going to say that we're reaching a level of Hashem like this, it's not a free choice. He's not choosing us totally out of free choice because he's choosing us because of our tshuva that we're doing. So when we say Vivcha Lanu, he chooses us. It's coming from the central level where it's us and Hashem. It's not. It's like in terms you can try to sort of use it in a lower level, like parents and child. Parents, you can choose the child because the child's doing good things. Then you can choose a child because you want to do, like they're doing tshuva, and then you want to be nice to them. And then there's a choice that's coming not because of anything they're doing, but who they are. And Rosh Hashana, this is what we're reaching. And Hashem chooses us, and we're asking Him to choose us. We're tapping to a level of Rosh Hashana that it's because it's us and Hashem, we're one. Meaning, of course, we have to do tshuva, and of course, we do mitzvahs, and there's mitzvahs for the day to be done, blow the shofar, and all these things, and daven. But what we're really tapping into is a level above all these things. Meaning within yourself as well. There's a level of me that I'm a good person. Well, I'm not always a good person. A level of me that I work on myself, do tshuva. And there's a level of me that who I essentially am. And that essentialness that we all have, is one with Hashem. And this is sort of what we're asking, this is sort of what we're reaching. There's opinions about blowing the shofar. That some opinions say the blowing shofar is not coronating Hashem as king, it's after we've coronated Hashem as king. That's why, and this is sort of to go back to the answer to the question why by Lubavitch, Rosh Hashana was especially the first time of Rosh Hashana was like the most important time of the year, because essentially what we're saying, the Rebbeim were tapping to this level, this deep level, that's above return mitzvahs, above everything. And think about internal relationships, the relationship you have with people we're good friends. There's even a level that I like them because they did tshuva, what they did to me. It's nice. It's a level above, it's above all those things. It's who you are. It's even very hard to describe. And this is what the level of reaching Rosh Hashana, this is what the Rebbeim were doing. And they were tapping into that level. And this is what we're doing. So once that happens, then you blow the shofar. Is the shofar coronating the king, or is it after the king incarnated? Meaning there's the king and you blow the trumpets. If I was, in order to connect this a little bit, I was with my kid, we watched the coronating of the king in England. It was very interesting. And you see this trumpet and and it's like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like you sort of get to see my angels, and this is sort of what we're doing. I couldn't fully understand what was going on, but it seemed like that was done after he's already king. The point is that this is sort of what we're talking about. This is like we talk about Rosh Hashana, and this is why it's so by the Rebbeim so deep, and also for us. Well, what we're thinking about. This is something I think about. When we say we want to count Hashem as king, we have to realize we're not talking about, hey Hashem, I'll be good, be nice to me, can you be my king? You'll give me, if you're my king, you'll be extra portion of good this year. There's that aspect, and that's a low aspect of Rosh Hashana. But then there's the deepest aspect of Rosh Hashana that it's just me and you. That I want you to be my king, not for what I get, not because you'll forgive me, because of who we are. Like we say in Adar Hashem, we say, there's nothing I ask Hashem. We say, Shiv to Hashem. What am I asking? I have really have one request. What I want to do is sit in your house. I want to be together with you. I'm not asking what am I going to get. Now, of course, there's an aspect of Rosh Hashana that it's the decree what you're going to get for the year. But we're talking about the highest level of Rosh Hashana. The only thing I want is to do with God. It's not about Torah mitzvahs. You want me to do Torah mitzvahs? You don't want to do mitzvahs? I don't care. I don't care about the mitzvah. I care about you. And in a relationship, that's, no one, like, when you have, a husband and wife, husband shouldn't say, or wife shouldn't say, I'll do this for you, but I don't like doing it. Deep relationship is I like you. Tell me what you want me to do. It's like, a wife wants the husband to bring flowers. So he's like, you know what, flowers, I want to check out in a few days. I'm going to buy, like a friend of mine told me, he goes, oh, I'm not going to buy flowers. I go, buy flowers, whatever, once in a while. I'll buy you a safer anytime you want. Safer we keep, it's put on the shelf, we have it forever. It's very nice that he's buying a safer, but the true level of love is I love you. What do you want me to get? It's not about what I'm getting from this. It says, it's interesting, it says about the Alter Rebbe, when he came to debate the Misnagdim, I forgot what it was now. So he already become famous. People knew about him, and they knew there was a big Talmud Chacham. But he was a chassid, so he was off path. So one of the big, like Rosh Yeshivas at the time, he said, I'm going to come, I'm going to mevatel my Biltul Torah. For them, traveling, it took a long time. It's like, and for them, Biltul Torah is also very big. So I'm going to, even though I'm going to waste my time walking, I'm not going to have a learn Torah, but it's worth that he said, this is what he said. And we have to also appreciate, this guy was a big Talmud Chacham, he said, when I go, he goes, it's worth for me to sacrifice that time learning, because if I manage to convince Alter Rebbe out of his false ways, he goes, when I go to Shemayim, I'm going to get an extra piece. So he said, I'm going to get an extra piece of the awesome. So the problem is, I'm sure it'd be very, very tasty. But he's not saying he's not saying the only thing I want is to be with you. Everything he's doing, he's saying I want it's the reward. And ultimately, what we're talking about, we're talking about Hashem, Hashem is my king. We've realized that ultimately it's me and Hashem, we're like family. All right, so you know, Hashem and us, we're all one. And when we think about it, and as you get to davening and you space out and you think, so one of the ideas to think about is this point. So Hashem, do I love you because you give me good things? I love you because if I behave, you'll give me good year. If I don't behave, you won't. Is a transactional relationship? Am I a worker or am I like a boss with you? It says about the Rabbi Rashab. There was a Sifas Rabbanim, there was a gathering of Rabbanim in Russia, because they were making all these decrees against learning and stuff. And so the Rabbanim got stuck what to do, so they would gather together. And so the Rabbi Rashab was very strict. The Rabbanim, when it came to these things, they were all like a force. Everyone's saying, listen, let's just give him a little bit and I'll leave us alone. Very much like what was happening now in New York. So the Rabbi Rashab, so afterwards, they had this whole debate and he tried to stop it, but it didn't work. So afterwards, he was sitting on the stairs crying, and I think it was a Chafetz Chaim. One of these big Lishvei Gedolim came to me and said, Rabbi, why are you crying? Because you did all you could. So he goes, yeah, but we weren't successful. And it's a very nuanced idea, but what happened? What was the difference? He's saying, why are you crying? You did everything you could. So he's saying, it's true we did everything we could, but we didn't succeed. Meaning this wasn't like my job. It's in my life. If I didn't succeed, it's part of me. And so to Hashem and us. So listen, Hashem, I did, like when you have kids, your kids do something for you. So like when it's theirs, like you tell the kid, listen, we need to get ready to go. We can leave. We're going on a trip. We're going to go on the whatever. We'll go to the park. When they realize it's up to them and that they can make it happen, so they can do things super fast. Never seen something so fast. Because it's theirs. But when it's not for them, or they don't see it that way, so they schlep all the way through. And what we're talking about here in Rosh Hashana is that it's ours. That Hashem and me, you and I were together. We're on with this. I don't care about your mitzvahs. I don't care about the children. I care about you. I'm all together with you. You don't have to think about all. You're going to say, so Yetel is going to come and tell you, hey, you think you want to be connected with Hashem. I remember what you did yesterday. Remember you woke up late today. Remember you didn't say this and do this. It's irrelevant now. The aspect of Rosh Hashana, all this is irrelevant. You are Hashem, you and I. And this is what this is essentially happening. The secret for us is to try to tap into within ourselves and see this and feel this way. And remind ourselves this. That also answers the question, why do we say Elu Asar Yom Shebein Rosh Hashana? We said these are the 10 days between. So we said how's it between Rosh Hashana and Kippur? It's only 7 days, not 10 days. So we're saying like this. There's an aspect of Rosh Hashana and Kippur that's totally above and beyond. And this idea is very similar to Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is totally above and beyond. Rosh Hashana is totally above and beyond. This is oneness Hashem that's irrelevant to Torah mitzvahs. All that doesn't matter on this level. Just like a relationship with the parents and the child. You don't stop being a child because you did something wrong. It's irrelevant. You can't say, you're so badly behaved, you're not my child anymore. And even if a parent, Chas v'Shalom, would say that, it doesn't change the reality. The reality is, it's still my child. And for sure, by Hashem, when we're saying He chooses us, we're saying, don't choose me because I look good, but because I do the right thing. Choose me because of who I am. And at that level, Hashem, He has the choice, and I'm sure He chooses us. Like the Rebbe says in the Sefer, he goes, from that level of atzmus, which is Hashem's essence, which is above everything. To sit there the whole night trying to describe all the levels between that and us to realize how high this is. Not, of course, not spatially high, but like spiritual this is. On that level, He chooses us. The Rebbe says over there, and he goes, on that level, He wishes us for sure good. Of course, on there it's good, and we get a good from that level. A good, happy, blessed year, a sweet year. And this is the one aspect. So you have that one aspect of Rosh Hashanah that it's not part of the Sesame Tshuva. That's the between, meaning there's the part of Rosh Hashanah, it's not part of the Sesame Tshuva. Then you have the other aspect of Rosh Hashanah, which is Tshuva. And it's like the Rambam, he puts in it's interesting in the halachas of Shofar, Rambam writes down, the only thing he puts down in the Hilchas Shofar is the halachas of blowing a Shofar. Doesn't put anything about Tshuva. But in Hilchas Tshuva, in the laws of doing Tshuva and repentance, over there he talks about blowing the Shofar as an inyan of Tshuva. So the question is, why doesn't he put it in Hilchas Rosh Hashanah? It's like I want to learn about Rosh Hashanah, so I learn halachas of Rosh Hashanah, but then it's only I'm learning halachas of Tshuva, and then it brings me to Rosh Hashanah again. Why not put it in the right place? So the explanation is because the simple baseline level of the day, the Torah mitzvahs level, is blowing the shofar, and you have to know halachas. Then there's a deeper level, which is the level of which is a deeper level of it, which is tshuva. And tshuva is like it's hinted to. So it's not written, it's hinted to in Hilchos Tshuva. This aspect is also there's also blowing the shofar. And ultimately, the highest level, it's not even hinted to, it's not even brought down, which is this aspect of Rosh Hashanah that's coming to Hashem's atzmos, coming to Hashem on that level. You ever got that? Huh?
Could you repeat it?
Repeat it? Yeah. In short, there's 3 levels to Rosh Hashanah. There's the level of Rosh Hashanah, which is the baseline level, which is the mitzvahs of the day, blowing shofar. That's like that's the lowest level. Then there's a deeper level of tshuva, which is simple tshuva. You're feeling bad what you did and you're looking to try to do things better. And then there's the deepest level, which is where you and Hashem are one. Which is above your mitzvahs, above your tshuva. And that's Talmud Chuni Lechem, it's Krani Hashem is king. It's saying, Hashem, I want you to be my king. It's like it says, like a king wanted to become king of some people. So they said, tell us what your laws, and then we'll figure it out. So he said, no. It doesn't work that way. He goes, first take me as king, and then we'll talk about the laws. So seemingly, like, what's the problem? Like it makes sense what they're saying. So, I want to know what I'm buying myself into. So he's saying, no, it doesn't work that way because you're not buying. It's transactional. And you care about me. It's like, you're going to marriage. Tell me what you're going to give, how much money you're going to bring into the marriage, how much I'm going to bring in, which days I'm going to work, which you're going to. We're married. We're together. We're together with this. Once we're here, once we're together, we figure all this stuff out. So with Hashem, we're saying, I'm together with you. I'm in the program. I'm totally in. I don't care about the mitzvah. Like, meaning not that I don't care about mitzvahs, is that my relationship to you is not based off the mitzvahs. It's not based off the Torah. It's not based off Shua. It's because it's you. I want to be connected with you. Yeah?
Can I still be affected if a person is angry with Hashem?
Not be angry with Hashem?
Yeah.
Sure.
Still, like, what is that?
Let me just make sure I understand. Basically, what happens if someone is unhappy with Hashem? I think it's like the story we said in the beginning with the guy that was drunk. I look at it personally as he's on a very high level. meaning to be angry at Hashem, it means you believe in Hashem. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who sit there, we go through the words, we don't think about all this stuff, we just go through the words, whatever, we finish, I eat and I go. This person, it's working. It's like a Shach said, or Wagner from UCLA, he said, the hardest kids to bring to the Chabad house is the apathetic ones. When you come to them, whatever, I don't care. He goes, he had a girl, she was when he said this, it was like years ago, he said, she's the president of the Chabad house. The first time she came to a shir, she came to argue with him. I had a friend, he used to make a shir in his office. Like an office with like different offices. So he had a guy there, wasn't religious at all. It was like he brought her out to speak. So it had like a 15-minute share. So it was about Pinchas. And I forget this. He said the story of Pinchas and the whole story of Pinchas being zealous and then killings and whatever. So the guy, I don't remember if he was a lawyer or something, he hated. He was arguing. he was like, how can you do that? What do I have to base it? You have to go to the Sanhedrin, you can't do these things. The guy didn't know much, but he knew enough to argue this out. And so my friend was like, oh, yeah, this guy, we lost him, he's not gonna come back. And afterwards he was like, I'm like trying to say sorry to him, that's bad, huh? And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, this is the best shit ever. I loved it. So being angry got meaning. I'm not saying, I'm sure there's maybe needs to be guided to not being so angry and realize maybe I don't need to be so angry. But that's it's not unhealthy, it's not bad. Maybe it's a little bit unhealthy, but it's there's life, the things are happening, things are moving. You know what I mean? What do you think?
I think the question, maybe, I don't know if this is what you meant, but like, how can I want to be one with Hashem if I'm angry at him? Is that what you were saying?
It's a good. Oh, it's good. It's a good question. So I don't think over one Rosh Hashana is going to work, maybe, but for sure, talk. I think if we say to ourselves, like, trust that I can figure this out, and then just work on it. Work on talking to ourselves about like, well, what's bothering me? It's like when I stress. So what do you see? Like stressing. So you say, write it down. So you write it down, and it's like 5 things, and you're like, that's it. It must be more. It's like, I feel so much more stressed. So a lot of times, let's say we have some issue, so let's write it down. Let's figure it out. Let's see what it actually is, and then let's try to work on it. Let's see what could I be doing. How can I fix this? Maybe I need to speak to someone, whether it's a mashpia or, going to therapy. A healthy, good therapist is worth its weight in gold. I've seen people's lives change. Or it could be reading more, learning more. We shouldn't just all I'm saying is that we shouldn't just stay in that place of like angry. And it's fine. I know that it's fun, we, for whatever reason, we like to be in these situations a little bit. And sometimes we have to learn that, okay, I've done it enough. Now it's time. Let me get out of this. Does that make any sense? We should never just push it away. That's not a healthy mindset. But we shouldn't just settle for it. I think also a very important point. If you think about everything we're saying, this is sort of the quintessential, the background behind it, is all this exists because we are important. Hashem wants us to crown him as king. It means we can crown Hashem as king. It's like I was speaking to someone this week. He asked me, he's like, should I start Shidduch or not? So I was like, well, I didn't know exactly what's going on with his life. We're speaking a little bit. So I said to him, one thing I said to him, I don't know how that came up, but I said, you have to look. He's like, oh, I don't. He goes, in Shiva, they never told me about anything. Shiva, marriage, nothing. I don't like. So I said, I hear you. I said, if you learn Chassidus properly, it'll help you a lot. So he looked at me like, I don't know, what are you talking about? What's the connection of Chassidus and marriage? So we started talking about a few things, and one thing I said to him, Chassidus is very empowering and shows you how important you are. He's like, where'd you see that? I said, it's everywhere. So I don't know what you're talking about. I said, let's use an example. I said, making a dwelling place for Hashem. In a certain sense, it's very egotistical of us to say that I can make a place for Hashem to dwell. Hashem himself, which is above anything you could have. Imagine getting the king, the king of England come to your place. How likely is that? It's very unlikely. And imagine what you need to do to get everything done and permission and make the house presentable. I remember when Obama drove his car down Kingston the other way, he didn't drive, whatever, the entourage. For like a month before, they were putting trees. I'm like, why are they putting trees? The guy doesn't even see this. And look what they do. And Hashem is saying, we're being taught in Torah that Hashem wants us to make a dwelling place for him. It's pretty wild. It's pretty, you can't be a nobody. And I think a lot of what we learn, we have to think about it and realize, like this, crown Hashem as king. We can crown Hashem as king. What we do matters. And it really does. But in a good way, we should never take it and somehow find out a way to put us down on it. But we should realize this. I think it's very important. In Psalms, one thing I was telling us, I said, I said, don't be a bacher just like sits waiting to get married. I said, live life, do things, help people. I think it's in general for ourselves, realize, like, I think one of the biggest issues we face is not realizing how amazing we are and how amazing we can be. There was once a bacher, and he was a very smart kid. He was in 7, but he had a little bit of an ego. And and people know it, and about like to put everyone down. So he got slammed, oh, you're nobody, you think you are. So he came to Yechidus. He told the rabbi, he's like, I have this issue, I have this ego, and everyone told me I have to like put it down. What do I do with this? So the rabbi told him. Rabbi said to him, he goes, be all those things. Be all those things. You think you're Talmid Chacham? Be a Talmid Chacham. You think you can finish the whole Gemara? Say, finish the whole Gemara. You think you can daven for hours? So daven for hours. You can think you'd be the most, whatever, be all those things. And it's such a powerful statement. Like, Rosh Hashana is a time to like realize this. It's relationship, I have a relationship with God. I have a relationship with God. God cares for me to come to shul and be there and listen to the shofar. My mitzvah makes a difference. Wow. And it's like when I was in yeshiva, my first yeshiva experience, I was in a place called Yeshiva G'dayla, Australia. And the first, I wasn't very experienced in yeshiva, and just followed the crowd. It's a lot of people that go down, like, so into everything. My room was called the train station, which basically meant whenever you wanted to, like, what's going on, you just go to that place and something's happening. Which means I didn't get a lot of sleep. And so yes, the first whatever semester, whatever, is just learning how to live life is about. And I remember the second man started, and we were all sleeping in. Whatever, went to bed late, and sleeping in. So the mashgiach, he's like the guy that gets you in trouble, basically. It's a very weird system. I don't know why they do it that way, but he comes into our room. He's like, get up, wake up, you're all sleeping. So I said to him, like off the cuff, I'm like, you never say anything nice to us. Like, don't tell me you're speaking to us, we're doing something wrong. And he was taken aback by it. He also was a little disrespectful with me. And he goes, you got a point. I hear you. He goes, fine. Okay, whatever. So the next day comes, he's still sleeping. He comes in and he goes, sure, I want to say something nice to you, but you're still sleeping. So I was like, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let's see this game. Let's play this game. So I don't think I remembered, these days for like 7 in the morning till 9:30 at night. I don't remember that much, but curfew was at 11. So one morning I come in, it was like a few days later, and he called me over. He like stood in the middle when like the bimmer is. So I'm walking out. And in the morning he calls you, it's never a good thing. So I'm like, well, what do I do now? So he called me and he goes, shows me a piece of paper, and he showed me like some ticks, marks. I'm like, I came on time to curfew. I'm on time. He's like, no, I know you did. I'm just showing you did. That was like his biggest compliment he could give. So I remember like walking back. It was so funny. I remember walking back. So I remember walking back to my place, and everyone's looking at me, what happened? And I was like totally bewildered. I didn't know what was going on. Like, what happened? What do you say? I'm like, I think he complimented me. They're like, well, what did he do? I said, he showed me these ticks. He said he came on time. I'm like, I guess you're saying. And from that point on, it changed. That whole semester changed. I never got class, never had to pay any fines. Came to everything. And I remember at one point, he goes, so Seder was funny. He finished at 8:30 and 9 o'clock was davening. So you meant to like prepare for davening. I wasn't preparing for that. I went back to bed. Like all rooms went back to bed. So we would like run to bed for half an hour and come back, come late to davening, whatever. This is a different time period in my life. And so he told me at one point, he goes to me, by the way, technically to be considered on time, this is how he told me. He goes, by the way, technically to be considered on time, you have to be here by 8:45. Meaning Seder finished 8:30 and 9 o'clock was davening, 9 to 5. So I used to go to sleep half an hour, yeah. When we think about it, see, we have to wake up at 7. It's funny, now I sleep a lot less, but in those days, I was exhausted. See, so I would have half an hour sleep. And she told me, by the way, you should be really coming 15 minutes. But he said in a very nice way, he's like, you should know that really to mark your time, it's 15, you should come at 8:45. I remember in my head, I remember this. It's like so weird that I remember this. 6 years ago. And I said, okay, I'll come. At 8:45 I came. I wasn't fast, I wasn't getting in trouble, but I felt that he cared. I realized that. He changed. And that whole experience, he told me, like, you changed. What's funny is, I was just before Tishrei. Tishrei, I went to New York, life-changing experience. And then I came back, he's made all those new rules, and I hated him again. I was like, wow, what happened to you? I'm like, why? I just went back. But I think the lesson is very important, that when we realize that Hashem cares, He's not punishing us. So, in the midst of the thing, and I'm not saying we go through struggles in life. It's for sure we do. We have to learn how to deal with that, like how to process that. But together with that, we've got to realize that Hashem not there to hurt us and hate us. And Hashem, like it says in the Sikh, Hashem is coming from the ultimate, like from Atzmos, the Tov, from Atzmos, and showing Atzmos, Hashem's essence himself, he wants good. So for sure, it brings it down. And the Erev doesn't make up stuff. This is, I think when we realize this, and Hashem wants good for us, we learn about these things, and when we not just learn, but we think about it and we try to internalize it, it helps us and changes us a little bit. And that, you know what I mean? The idea is that when we're talking about Hashem, we don't think about something somewhere. Talk to him. I'm angry at you. It's a perfect thing. Hashem, I'm angry at you. Then bring it out with yourself. But I think also something that I've worked on, I think something that we could all do a little more of, is appreciate how many blessings we have. It's hard to see it sometimes, and this took me many years to do. I used to see all the negatives. To be a little bit real with us, and I used to say this a lot. Ask Michal about this. I used to make a joke, like we struggled in our own ways, and I'd always say as a joke, I look at everyone else with all their good things, well, that I thought was all good. And I said, I don't have this, I don't have anything. I said, but at least we have Shalom Bayis. But I said it as a joke. Shalom Bayis. And then I matured up a little bit, and I was like, it's pretty disgusting of me to say such a thing. Like I belittled what I had. And now I appreciate it, I realize, and we worked hard for the Shalom Bayis. I'm not saying don't, but I'm so glad I have it. I have kids. I've helped, people come to the Rebbe. We should talk about this. People come to the Rebbe saying about the kids, and the Rebbe said to them, you don't understand how many people come in here wish to have your problem. I think we don't, I have a friend of Chavrisa, he lives in Central America, I forget what it is now. And there was like a tropical storm, and he's out of power. So it's like a weird thing. Basically, she's like, hey, Christian, daven for me that I get enough power. It's meant to be a heat storm. They're saying like it's like dangerously hot. He has no AC. And I'm sitting in my room, my house, the AC going, running water. There's not running water. Like, wow, we don't. When did we ever say to ourselves? When the last time we said, wow, I'm so blessed. I have a roof over my head. I have food. I have running water. I have AC in the summer.
Is it Venezuela maybe?
No, it's an American. It's like an American. Not Panama, Puerto Rico, I think. But it was just like a simple thing that I'm talking to a friend of mine, that he doesn't have power. Imagine how uncomfortable it is. I'm saying we don't realize how many blessings we have. We know how to learn. We sit here, we have minds to tzedakah. It's amazing. Like, we are blessed. I'm not belittling, we shouldn't belittle the issues that we have and whatever we want to work on, but also be able to weigh it out properly. You know what I mean? Anyone else have any questions, comments?
I was learning something today. It sort of connects to what you were speaking about. It's from like Timer Devara. It's from like Ramosha Cordovero. But he basically takes like the Yod Gimel Midas Harachamim, the 13 attributes of mercy, and like says, oh, how can we implement it in our own lives? So I actually just did the last one today. And it was basically, what you were talking about how Hashem like considers every tree like very special, even if they're not doing the right thing necessarily. And so he was saying that we could also take that approach to other people. Like, if somebody really hurt us and we're like having a hard time, like, forgiving them, because this is that time of like forgiving people, whatever. He was saying that, you could kind of look back at the person and say, oh, well, maybe in a different time in their life, they were doing good things and maybe they could do teshuva for themselves. And I mean, it is like, you have to strike that balance between like, dealing with the feelings that they put into you and, thinking positively, but.
Beautiful. Yeah, and ultimately, you never know the full story of it. Like that's also what happened when, like, one of my things realizing that, like, we make assumptions about people's lives. Oh, they have so much money, or they have this. Everyone has, the joke goes that everyone gets a chance to put on all their pekalap, all their issues, and they take what everyone else wants. So everyone grabs someone else's that they see all the good, and then they see it's like a string attached, and there's something else that I want. And they're like, yeah, you know what? I'll just take mine. That's what it is. We all have. No one has the perfect life. Everyone has. You have, as Shalom Harabashan said by the Shabbaton, he said people complained to him that he was taking too much mail. So everyone goes to get mail. So they're like, you stand in so whatever, and the guy gives out the mail. So he was always getting a lot of mail because everyone was writing to him. So one guy is like, Bashkin, you get so much more mail than me. Why are you taking all the mail? So he's like, I'm not taking your mail. This is my mail. Like, it's not yours. So the guy was like, this person a little slow. So he's like, let me show you. So he opened up one of the letters, it was like in Yiddish. So he goes, look, can you read this? It's not for you, it's for me. It's not yours. And so he explained, he said one of the things he learned from this, he goes, in life, you complain that someone else took my mail. Someone else has my things. I wish I had this. He's like, it's not yours, it's not meant for you. And he said he, like, for himself, realized this. You have what you're meant to have. Doesn't mean to satisfy yourself, but like we shouldn't like compare ourselves to others. You don't know what's going, It's not your life, it's their life. You have your life, you have their life. You know what I mean? Yeah. I guess maybe another question.
I think that is how like value that
How do you practically get in the mindset? I guess, again, maybe everyone has their own version of it, but just try to do the things. I guess everyone might have their own things that get them going, but it's trying for Yom Tov, saying, let's go there, and maybe listen to a shir on Rosh Hashana or something you like to listen to, and then just thinking about not being hard on yourself. I might say that a lot, but it's just because I know myself, and I've, and I think I'm not the only one. We don't realize how hard we are on ourselves. Come to Rosh Hashana, I'm getting the chance to come to this game. Learn about how the Rebbeim did. It's like they have the story of the Free Girls first year in America. I cried 4 hours. Like he's taking his like table and like the napkin, whatever. It was like soaking. So it's a serious, awesome time. And realize think about what's my relationship with Hashem. How is that relationship? Is it good? Is it bad? Could it be better? What could I be doing better? how can I should be more part of my life? Ultimately, you know what I mean? Is Hashem part of my life at all? It's not about taking, last year in Farbrengen, was last year and that achlatas we take, it's not to be grand. Meaning, and I used to do this a lot. I look where I am and where I want to be. So I say, let me go there. But there's a big distance from where I am and where I want to be. So you gotta ask yourself, where's the next step? What's the next step to getting there? And working on that next step. As a friend of mine told me, there's a big Talmid Chacham, name was Chassid Rabbi Weiss. He's in from Morristown. He knew everything. He knew the whole Torah. Like they say you can do the pin test, which means you take the Gemara, you put a pin in it, and it'll tell you what it says on each page. A friend of mine asked him, he goes, what's my avodah for Elul? What should I be working on in Elul? So he told him, and when I heard this, so a few years I laughed at this, like I thought it was like a joke a little bit, but I think it was very deep. So he said, you should finish the Masechet of Gemara that you took on in Yitzis Kislev. In Yitzis Kislev, there's a custom to take on Masechet of Gemara to learn. So when he asked him what I should be doing in Elul, he said, take on, finish up that, but do that. So I was like, yeah, you're like saying you're gonna waste your time anyway, so at least do something good. But I think what he was saying is, one opinion Michal told me from Princeton, he has this whole thing about it's about finishing. So that could be that's why he said it. But I think another thought is that you should take another thought to do something else. What about all the things you haven't done yet? You know what I mean? We don't have to keep going more. Just let's fix up what we need to fix. What can I do? I don't know. Everyone, I guess, has their own way of getting inspired. Could we listen to in the Gunim or songs for Rosh Hashana davening, or looking at the davening and looking at the words. I don't know. Resonate with you at all?
It's I say I'm not and one of them feel that death was I stepped living there and I when I know not whatever. And then when you see what the death coming and then you just I wanted that me back in the days, and now it's I still live around it, just not not that. It's just I go every day you have to make sure you can find it, but you're not gonna make it good. And they it's different. I know they don't live there, but the inspiration is
You take it for granted. It's just like we were working during this time for the
Yeah, it's also you're working, not
now the
go there when the Americans come working. You can't just take off work and come to Sunday.
Ultimately, Chabad not opinionist, meaning it has to be yours. True inspiration, this rabbi said, when did he become a Lubavitcher? So he grew up like a modern Orthodox, and then he started doing shleim, he to different chassidim, and he was learning different stuff, and he was connecting different places. He said, when was the point where we knew he became a Lubavitcher? So he said every Shabbos, Friday nights, lived in Yerushalayim, there's Kikat Shabbos, and he would go to different tish, different chassidim have do a tish. It's this is Gunim, and they give out Shirayim, and every Shabbos we go to a different place. And by this point, he already started learning a little bit of this. Friday night comes, and he said he's walking down the street to go into the center of town in Nesharim, and he goes, and they're talking with his friend. He goes, "Where should we go? Which tish tonight?" So he said to himself, he goes, "You know what? Because right near there in Kikat Shabbos, there's Yechom Menachem, I think it is. It's a Lubavitcher store, sells Sfarim and also a library." So he said, he goes Shalom Tanya, and he said, I became a Lubavitcher. Well, who knows why he became a Lubavitcher when he said this? I'll say it again, and let's think about it and see if you can figure it out. So every week he'd go and try to find another tish. And this week, as they were discussing where to go, he said to himself, "You know what? I should go to Tanya instead."
Instead of eating.
instead of going to the tish. Tish is not. It wasn't eating. It was like
It's
Well,
like a big Farbrengen with a lot of.
yeah. So they sing songs.
like-
A lot. It's very nice. You should go if you have a chance. They sing songs, and the rabbi gives out like food. That's all that happens. It's cute. It's like nice. You know how to sing very well.
Like the external
Yeah.
aspects of like being inspired. It's like the external inspiration, whereas the Tanya, wanting to go learn Tanya is like trying to make it more of a personal impact of inspiration.
Very good. Understood what she said? What she said?
Yeah, but still, that's every day. We say we learn Kaddish, you know, okay? We still
Yeah, but let's just still on what she said. She said it well. Basically, what he realized is wait, what?
You repeat what she said.
So Rita said, when you go to the tish, it's like it's nice, but it's like it's very like
It's
makif.
inspiring,
It's
and
inspiring.
then like you go home and it's done.
And you go, yeah, you don't live with it. Whereas time you learn something. That's exactly it. Meaning he realized he was going there to get inspired, and he realized he can inspire himself. The Rebbe, Chassidus, in Chabad Chassidus, it says Chassidus Montpnimius, demands to be Pnimius means just to be yours. The Rebbe made you into, we're meant to be a Rebbe. We're not meant to be Chassidim. Of course, we're Chassidim, but meaning when you go, like, what's a Shliach? Shliach is the Rebbe in that place. And we should be like them. And that's why if you ever learn, you think about it, when you learn a Sikha, the Sikha has a question and an answer. And a lot of stuff in the middle. Now, why is all the stuff in the middle? Just tell me the answer. So what's the point of the stuff in the middle? Stuff in the middle is the Rebbe to show you how to think. But this is how I'm thinking about this. This is how you should think about it. And we should internalize it enough that we can see it that way. The Rebbe wants us to be so to speak, self-made people that wake stand on 2 feet. I don't need to come to the Rebbe to be inspired. I can inspire myself. That's why we have so much chassidus to the Rebbe. That's why there's so much chassidus. Because the Rebbe is trying to give it to you, that it becomes yours. And he realized he doesn't need to go somewhere else to get inspired. He can inspire himself. So to that coming here to be inspired, and it's great, and it's amazing, and it inspires us. We're fortunate enough to live in this place where people from around the world are coming. But that doesn't mean they're automatically more inspired than you. It's not a true inspiration. I mean, it could be, but I'm saying you can be more inspired without having to do all those things. You know what I mean? Meaning in simple terms, you take something you learn Hayom Yom. As simple as learning Hayom Yom or learning some chitz, whatever it is, something you learn and you live with, and you think about it and you say, how does this apply to me? And how do I live with this? You got gold. You got it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't come to sincerity. Of course, you should go to sincerity. All those things are good. But don't think to yourself that because you don't go every day for every davening, you're not as inspired. You be as inspired. Think about it. The shluchim were grown up from Australia. They went to Australia in the 50s. It took like days to come to America. Now it was 2 flights to New York. And he came days. Like I don't know how he got there. Think about that. He went to Australia. He left. He's gone. It's like going to the moon. And how did he keep himself inspired? It wasn't like he watched a video there. He had nothing. I don't know how he got. Like if he got anything, how much did he get already? Like he was by himself. He keep himself inspired. So sure, we can also do it. You know what I mean?
Like that's also the lesson of like the Yaakov talk with Archimon. It's like after the whole Tishrei experience, and it's very uplifting and all that, and you take on achlatas. And then you're supposed to then you go to your regular everyday. It's like the point is that you're supposed to, it has to be practical. You're supposed to take it in your day-to-day life. So that you come to next Rosh Hashana on an even higher level, hopefully, so that you're on another level, being inspired and of identity.
Yeah, very good. Sure. And also, that's also in general, another thing also to not be hard on ourselves. We're going to do this again. Meaning you don't have to do everything perfect. Hashem didn't make us perfect. He didn't make a perfect world. He didn't expect us to be perfect. No. You don't have to, like for example, I used to be very I want to do everything perfectly. I do a mistake, it's done. But I've learned to get over it. Like this year, I was saying Slichus the second day. and on my Sukkos book, I didn't move my bookmark, so I just started saying Sukkos. Suddenly I noticed like this guy's saying para so much faster than me. Like, how's he going so much faster? And then suddenly I look, I'm like, I'm still on the first day. I'm a whole day. I'm like, what am I doing? Just move on. Like, we're not going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes. Just move on. You know what I mean? Just keep on going. Like, and you're going to do revision next year. And every year, you'll be more experienced. You'll understand it better. And hopefully, you know, if you keep on trying, you're just going up and up and up.
I just
Really, it's to realize that well, when we get bothered by it, what we're saying is Hashem's not around. Hashem's not here. What are we bothered about? Hashem's here. Hashem knows what's going on. He knows I'm trying. You know, like you think is he angry at me? Like, oh, you made a mistake. Why'd you do that? He knows me better than I know myself. Well, like, oh, we get, it's hard for us to move on because it's our own, essentially our own ego is getting in the way. Like, Hashem's fine with you. You know? It's like when people, they do something wrong to you and like you call them out on it and then you move on, but they still keep on holding. It's like, what are you still holding it for? Like, I'm finished. I had a friend, whatever, I did something wrong. Reminded me of this today, like, so I did like whatever. I didn't like it was by accident, like whatever. And so he complained to me a few days later. He texted me. It was I liked it a lot. He texted me and he goes, "You." He said to me, "Because you never follow." Like basically, I broke his glasses. It was an accident. And he's like, "You never followed up about it. Like you didn't really check in on me." I thought we were good friends, and like he's like, "I'm done. Like I don't want to continue going on this. I just like in order to be like open with a friendship, I'm gonna tell you this." I was like, "I appreciate it. I'm sorry." So I kept on like going on. Like, I'm really sorry. He's like, "I'm done. It's finished. You're good." Like, and I realized like my avoid of that was to keep on going, feeling bad on myself. It doesn't help him. And when you do that, it doesn't let him be able to be honest with you. So I have to deal with this guy being, you know, crying and complaining. You're done. You know, it's like the story. I used to hear it about a monk, but then recently I heard about a chassid. I don't know the story. But basically, it's the same part. There were people crossing in the old country, you know, in Russia, they were trying to cross the river. There was a lady trying to cross. An older lady, whatever. She was like, it's a hard river to cross. So the Alter Chassid grabbed the lady, picked her up, whatever, put her on the shoulder, and he crossed, helped her cross, put her down, and then they kept on walking. She walked off, and he walked off with his friend, younger friend. So after a while of walking, his friend's like, "You understand something? Yeah. So he goes, yeah. He goes, but I put it down. He's still sheming again. He's still touching it now. Like he's still in his head for the last 2 miles thinking about it. He let it go. He finished. Meaning, we can say to ourselves like this: I'm still holding on to it. Why am I holding on to it? Am I doing it because Hashem cares, or because of my own things? You know what I mean? I think it says, knowing the issues half the solution. Understanding, like, before figuring out the solution, realizing, hey, I'm still holding on to this. That's the first step. One, realize it. And then you can really start to like figure out, like, should I be holding on to this?
So you can't like improve in that area if you're that.
Exactly.
How do you balance having like you're saying Hashem believes in you yourself, like you could do, I forgot what the word is, like being empowered and being something that you didn't achieve what you did.
Say it again.
Meaning like not what's the word? Basically holding yourself to where you could. You saying like we don't realize what we could achieve. So then it's like, oh well. So then how do you balance that with that you didn't achieve what you feel like you're not giving yourself by like achieving what you know you could achieve. So it brings that.
I feel like life is like we want everything to be perfect always, but like we have to realize that the journey is important, and like so there's no like set answer. There's like times when you're gonna feel like yuck, like I really don't like this, but that's important so that you can grow, and you need both. But like the difference between like atzvos and like depression and sadness, where it's like, or bitterness or whatever. It's like, not getting so stuck that like it brings you down. So that's the part where it's like, I can do anything and whatever, but the Yerida helps you grow, whatever. So it's like I think, I don't know if I'm making sense. Like a bit of a journey. Like when you're feeling low, it's important. That's important because that brings you much higher. So to not get stuck in it, and then to know that you can do anything.
Maybe like knowing that you can do anything is what will get you out of that feeling bad.
It seems to me that there are two different things happening that don't really come together. Meaning, you don't feel like you can do everything and feel like and feel stuck. When you feel stuck, it's because you don't feel you can do everything. If you can do everything, you're not stuck. Like she was saying, it's between atzvos and atzvos. Like, how do you know if it's a healthy like sadness or unhealthy sadness? Like you're saying, an unhealthy sadness is, and this is the Rebbe says, you read the Rebbe's letters. I'm not a buck in Rebbe's letters by any means, but you read a few of them. Just a side tangent a little bit, but I always wondered this, and I think I figured out the answer. That's when the Rebbe asked to get the letters written. So 11, which he lives like a few doors down, he's the librarian. He was tasked with compiling the letters. He said, should I do it according to subject or according to time? So they were told him to come to time. So I always felt like, well, a long time I was like, how does time help me? Like, I want to know about depression. What depression section? Why do I have to go? Like, how am I going to search through all these volumes? For many years, it bothered me. But I think I figured it out. It's actually very simple. It's because everybody wants you to use it as like an index for your issues. Once you read it, learn it like a safe, and go through it, and it'll shape you. You just go with your own things, you're not going to really learn it, you're not going to get it. You want it as like just one of those like quick, let me go Google it and find it. I want you to like learn and soak yourself.
Well, no, there's an app where you could do that. So.
Yeah, 2022.
What? I think where you could like search on topics and see like.
Also, you find the English versions of it when they do English ones, they're all come to topic. But the point is, so the point is in the Rebbe's letters, one of the best themes you find. It's a very simple idea, but it's very profound. He says, how do you know if something's coming from Yitzhar Yetzirah? Simple question. How do you know? And this is sort of a question I want. How do we know? How do you know if something's coming from Yitzhar Yetzirah? How do you know this? I don't know. It's hard to bring to an action, not good action. But you're right, exactly what you're saying. It's you ask yourself, where is this leading? What's the end result of this? If the end result is something good, positive, it's a tape. Meaning in simple English, a person Chas Hashem did, and it brings down in Tanya, a person did a really big Avera. And they're sad about it. It's a good thing. You should be sad about Avera. The only thing you're going to ask yourself is this sadness, what is it leading to? Is this sadness leading to me being depressed? Well, to change. There's something good about it. Meaning, it can be the worst of various. Let's say you ate pork on Yom Kippur. The second after you ate pork, you're a person, a theoretical being, ate pork. The second after, their job is to, if there's Hashem b'simcha, and go back to shul and keep on davening. The worst thing we do to ourselves is keep on going. I'm nobody. So I'm saying, to come, if you feel that you can change the world and you're amazing, you're not going to get stuck. You get stuck, but you don't feel that way. You know what I mean? And in general, it's a good question to ask ourselves. A lot of, for me, what Chassidus sort of like changed me and sort of like changed my life. And I started to understand what I learned in my terms of myself, like Nefesh Bahamas, started to understand my Nefesh Bahamas. It's very important when you learn something. Tell us about it. You remember a lot of places how you should make it your own. But it's about like when you understand, like this man is talking about me, and then you try to figure out what that, like what's that national hamas for me, what's my national hamas, and how does it express itself? And the problem is we say, yeah, national hamas, yeah, I'm the bad guy. But we don't really know it. When you know it, intimately, so then suddenly the mind. That's how when I started, when I on, like, whoa, that's what national hamas. Well, it's a national kiss. And then like 1 second, that mind said national hamas. Let me want that mind again. And now I understand what those words mean. Which is animal stuff. Sounds like, whoa, it changed. And all these good topics we're talking about, it's good for ring. It's very good. And I think like being able to apply them is knowing ourselves. Knowing who the national hamas is and who the national kiss is. When is that? When you're talking, who's talking? That thought. Who's thinking that? Oh, national hamas thinking national kiss. And like we said, well, you can figure it out by what's it leading to me. And even then, like really, the Yetzer Hara, who knows the difference in the Yetzer Hara and the national hamas? You know the difference?
Your immunity every day. Tells you to sleep, tells you not danger. It needs a heart, like playing not good.
Very good. Meaning the nefesh hamas is not intrinsically bad, just selfish, self-centered. It takes care of you. The Yetzer Hara just wants bad. It's like you should go to bed, but you want to keep on watching. It's Yetzer Hara. It's like, but I know it's not a good idea. You do it anyway. That's Yetzer Hara. Nefesh hamas is like, let's taste. Let's eat this. I like this. I should probably eat something healthy. I'll cheat this. But they also might say, let's eat healthy. But all these things, if you know these people, so to speak, in you can all the tips and tricks for this gives, you can apply.
Also, I think it makes the less bad about it. It's kind of like the voice is not me, like it's outside of me that don't identify with whatever it is.
Very good. Yeah. Because also when you say, in Tanya, talking about you have two nefashos. So there's two of me. It's not like I'm not like I can disassociate myself with that person. That's also why we can also, like you're saying, I could have one day I'll be a tzaddik, I'll do everything right. The next day, totally opposite. I'm like, what happened? Like I thought we're going up. It's true. Yesterday was your national kiss was you were dealing with, and today's your national hamas. It's totally fine. It totally makes sense. And again, that's why we shouldn't get down ourselves. So national hamas, he took control today. And all this, knowing ourselves and all this we're talking about leads into Rosh Hashana and like Hashem is our king, because then it's like Hashem is personal. If you don't understand about myself, even it's hard to understand Hashem. This is all part of the Avodah, Nothing's in a bubble. It's like can't just come Rosh Hashana and say, hey, Hashem, you're my king, yay! You can do that, and it's better than nothing. But there's all deeper levels, and like working on ourselves, and seeing ourselves, and understanding this, and saying, Hashem, I really want to be, and I want to have that connection. And in the past, when I thought about this in Rosh Hashana, I thought about it as like being genuine about it. Like we can say it takes 2 seconds to say it, but we can also like think about it and say it from like depth. It's like it's like you can give flowers to someone. Yeah, I like flowers and walk off. Say yeah, I love you, whatever, and then you can like really mean it. Like write a letter. People give Rosh Hashana cards. It's beautiful, and someone handwritten and like it's a whole different experience. And so to like yeah, Hashem, you're my king. Care about you. I want to be connected with you. And like I'm so happy that we're connected. I don't care about like whatever you tell me to do, I do. Say it and mean it. It's gold. And once you have all that, then it's like, and it really once if that was internalized within us, then all the mitzvahs is easy. Like the guy telling me to get up at 8:45 was easy. it wasn't hard. What changed? It wasn't like I got an extra boost of energy. It's because I realized we're connected. Like in that case, more he cared about me, but God, you realize like she wants me to be connected with him, wants me to have that relationship, wants me to be his king. Talking about a level he doesn't care about me. Someone tells you, I don't care what you do. I'm like you. What happens if I burn the food? I don't care about you burn food. What happens if I do something wrong to you? I don't care. I remember years ago, the guy told me, he was a therapist or psychologist, and he had a kid that was, like a teenager. And he said to him, I don't remember the whole background, but he told me this on like some of these things. He told the teenager, he goes, like I'm gonna work with you. And he's like, you don't want to work with me. He's like, why not? He's like, I'm bad. Yeah, it's not gonna work. I'm a bad person. You don't like me. He said, no, like I'm happy because there's nothing. He said, there's nothing you can say to me that's gonna affect me. So he's like, yeah, I'll show you. He's like, yeah. He sat down on the phone and the guy cursed him up, cursed him. And he's like, you done? And he's like, yeah, I'm still happy. I'll work with you. And the guy kept cursing him again. And he's like, you done? I'll still work with you. And he said, fine, I'll hook with you. It's if you say he was trying to show him that like our relationship is a lot deeper than that. It's not that shallow. And this is what Rosh Hashana is about. Deep level. It's not shallow. Oh, you did mitzvahs, you're a good guy. You didn't do it, you're not so good. It's way above this. And I think about it, imagine me and God, irrelevant. He doesn't look at me. We look at ourselves so critical. It's unfortunately, we're the most critical is on ourselves. So we look at ourselves so critically. Imagine you say, I'm good. No term, it doesn't make you relevant. It's irrelevant. I make tshuva. Just me and God. He wants me. And he chooses me. He's choosing me. It's beautiful. Thank you. I love you, man. What do you want me to do? Like, just tell me. I'll do whatever it is. You're choosing me. Let's do it. And then you go back to the next day. As the Rabbi Shab said to the Fidigrava after Yom Kippur, he goes, Shuvatan. Now you start doing tshuva. Yeah. Selfie? I take a selfie? I thought the pictures you guys took was good. But I'm not going to get in trouble. Yeah, how was a selfie? That's good. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining online. This is the official part of the program.